Hi all, welcome to my Legoon Team of the Season predictions video. Could be a very nice looking team of the season going by the thumbnail, and could be some nice individual cards to look forward to. Let me know down in the comments below who you would like to see get a Legoon Team of the Season card. You are welcome to smash the like, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter at GIsLegend, and all my links as always folks are down in the description below. So Marquinhos, Mbappe and Pepe could be three of the headliners that may be part of this team of the season. So our three goalkeeping choices are Anthony Lopez, Ruffier and Benitez. Now Benitez is, I'll start off with him. He's had a very impressive season. He has been quite a lot of times this season been touted for an inform. I think quite easily one of them. I think if we've been about 30 weeks in, I think he's been touted about at least a third of the time. That's how impressive he has been, and at the same time when you think that he is only potentially going to be say 91, 92 rated, is also kind of insane. But regardless, he has more than deserved it and played a big part in helping Nice's season potentially get them into Europe. Ruffier, another consistent season as always. St Etienne themselves being very impressive, challenging for the Champions League places, but at least maybe at minimum is the Europa League, but Champions League would be very impressive for them. And same for Anthony Lopez, another consistent season for him. PSG, I was kind of struggling a little bit. I thought, do I go Areola, I was genuinely kind of struggling from PSG perspective, but at the same time you may find one of them from PSG could end up in, like, say, most consistent or just sneak into this. But I would say personally I feel Lopez, Ruffier and Benitez, just going on how their teams have played, but also how they've all played in general this season, I would say I feel a bit more confident about all three of these happening in net compared to other choices. Now Atal and Marcelo could quite easily end up into most consistent, and saying that, Kerr could do the same. So you may suddenly find that those three may end up in most consistent, but all three in their own right deserve to be in team of the season, especially Atal, who has been very impressive for Nice. I've watched a lot of Legoon this season, especially like whether it be the highlight show on like TV, or if there's been like games from the league, I will like happily sit down a Saturday or Sunday night or during the day whenever they're playing and watch them. And Nice have been a very good standout team to watch, and Atal obviously it's had an upgrade and looks like a very healthy team of the season upgrade in his own right. Marcelo just seems to be making centre back his own for Lyon, and while he won't have the most appealing pace in the world possibly, he's still been a very rock solid centre back. I think is this his second or third team this season if memory serves. Kerr doing very impressive for PSG. Got a minor upgrade earlier in the year and looks set for a nice team of the season card that would be quite well rounded, and he's obviously been a few times lately on the cusp of an inform. Lala, I think, is the one that everyone kind of wants to see. Been very impressive with multiple informs, a headliners card as well, which I own, very nice card, and 93, 94 rated card I'm sure a lot of people would get rather excited about. And then Marquinhos, another man that's been very solid, kind of taking over from Thiago Silva in a sense. But saying that, Thiago Silva always seems to end up in the team of the season, so he suddenly may do the same this year over say Kerr or Marcelo. As I said, those three may end up in most consistent. Then the mids, Pepe, I think kind of is academic. He's like the second top goal scorer in France. He's been absolutely insane for Lille and helping them be second in the league, which I genuinely did not expect, or I think no one expected in all honesty, especially since Lille were fighting for relegation last season. Now I might be being over confident, well not overconfident, it's maybe depending on the boost really, that I'm giving him 399 rated stats, but it may happen, you never know. Like, it all depends how they kind of really just boost them. But Fekir, another consistent season from him, very impressive, like 92, 93 rated cam. Another standout from the Lille team of Bamba. That would be quite appealing. Pepe and Bamba left and right mid, and all you need is someone in central. Then Savanier, he would have been in most consistent if he hadn't got his inform, but this dude has been very, very impressive for Nîmes, been a big part of their season, and I don't see him being there next season. Like, he has been very, very impressive for them, and I think he could end up in like maybe a St Etienne or a Nice potentially next season. He looks a very useful player, and 86 rated, I will actually be honest, could be a bit harsh on him. He could generally be maybe even 88, 89 rated. And then another consistent season from Fovan, seems to be making his own at right mid for Marseille. And while he's maybe not got as impressive from an inform and special card view this year, he's still been very impressive, but not maybe to the high standards, especially of like last season, where it was like 3 or 4 informs he had, and he was just kind of the main man for like Marseille last season alongside like Payet. Then other midfielders that may happen, Udan of Reims, who have been very impressive, and look, another team that could potentially get into Europe. They were unlucky, they lost their unbeaten streak to Strasbourg last week, and it was like their first game they lost in about nearly 3 months, which was unbelievable. I thought that's some record, and I think they played like everybody in that period. I think they even had like PSG, and they drew with them, I think. But they've been very, very impressive, and Udan is one of, I think, potentially maybe 2 or 3 players that could get in from the team. Sarr is like top goal scorer for Marseille, for Rennes even. And just for me, him and Ben Arfa, both of them have been very consistent for Rennes in League and Europe, and I think could be both in that kind of interesting bracket. Obviously Ben Arfa has his Carnival card, but I think his team this season, if he was to get one, would just go slightly above it, maybe 2 or 3 ratings above it. Rongier, very impressive mid, while Nantes have kind of free fallen in the second half of the season. Rongier has been still very consistent in midfield, and I think his input has maybe not been, while it's not been as impressive in the second half of the season compared to the first, I still feel he could merit team of the season. If he had got his second inform earlier in the year, I think he would be maybe 91, 92 rated, and then he would be a more exciting option. And Uar could end up in most consistent, or he could just be given a team of the season card. The biggest question is what rating he goes, because I think with quite a few of these players, some of them have obviously other special cards. It all depends on, does it go in line with that card or above it or below it, and then it gets quite confusing on that basis. So the 5 forwards I've opted for are Dembele, Kadri, Cavani, Mbappe and Di Maria. Now Dembele obviously has his one to watch card, but will not be affected at all for his team of the season card. He's been very, very impressive for Lyon. He started off a bit slow, but he's been helping lead the line with like Depay and Traore, and he's obviously got an inform, and he's been on close a couple of times for a second inform, but he's more than deserving, I feel, of a team of the season card. Kadri leading the line for St Etienne, very impressive season for him. Surprisingly not bagged an inform yet. He could easily end up in most consistent as well. This could be the theme for a lot of Ligue 1 players. Cavani, well, obviously Mbappe and Di Maria have been leading the line a lot, and Neymar's not been featured as much due to injury, but Cavani's still very impressive this season, and would be a bit unfair of him not to get team of the season due to how he has performed this season. Mbappe obviously has a team of the year card. Big question is, could the team of the season card go the same rating and maybe a slight upgrade to the team of the year, or does it go slightly below? But I would honestly say could be about, I think the team of the season card that he would get would replace the team of the year, and the team of the year could get a boost. And then Di Maria, I've put him at striker. He could be given right wing, but he seems to be playing striker for the second half of the season, and he seems to just be leading the line unbelievably well, bagging informs, man of the matches, and becoming quite a little deadly striker for PSG. Seems to be finally finding his feet as well, as it were, and this 96 rated striker card almost reminiscent of that Manchester United team of the year card a few years ago, which was quite insane, if you remember that card. So that is the main team. On to our objective cards that we've decided for now. As you can see, we've got 486s in Magnan, Cyprian, Thomasan and Delort, and then we've went with a kind of crazy card in between them all of Draxler. Now Magnan, very, very impressive for Lille, being a big part of their run to second in the league, and would be more than deserving. Cyprian, another player who's been consistent for Nice, been unfortunate not to have inform or even any special cards for that matter, and he could end up either in most consistent, but he could end up as an objectives card for this. Draxler obviously has an inform, and I thought, looking at how he's played this season for PSG, well, maybe not as impressive as some of his peers, he still could end up as a objective card, which would be quite insane. 92 rated, maybe not the most likely, but still an option to consider. Thomason, consistent for Strasbourg, on top of like Lala and Martin. Like Jonas Martin could be another one that could end up as an objectives card, but I opted for Thomason, just thought gives a nice alternative. And then Delort being a big part for Montpellier's season, try to keep them potentially maybe in the top half of the league, maybe even sneak into Europe. Delort, the former Toulouse and Wigan striker, and also he was in Mexico for a little stint as well, and he's been very consistent for them, and as with quite a few players, he could easily end up in most consistent. That's kind of the theme with this kind of league, I've noticed. But hopefully you get a good idea, and hopefully let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of my predictions? Have I got some good shouts? Am I on the button? And also, what do you think of the objectives cards? So let me know in the comments down below, folks. Welcome to Smash the Likes, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter @GisLegend. Take it easy all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later.